Hi, it's Laura from Train Respond. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk about diabetes. And we're going to go over low blood sugar specifically. So low blood sugar, they consider anything less than 70 on the reading. Obviously, the lower you go, the more signs and symptoms you're going to have. So let's talk about these signs and symptoms you're going to see with somebody having a low blood sugar. They have a sudden onset of dizziness. They can have confusion. They can have big mood swings, right? A sudden change in their mood. In fact, the brain needs sugar in order to function. It's its energy, it's its fuel. And so people having low blood sugar can very often become very combative. They don't even realize they're doing this. And they're really combative towards you. So just know that, be aware that could happen. They have pale, cold, sweaty skin, and they can complain of headache. What you want to do is determine if this is low blood sugar, right? Because other things can mimic kind of the signs and symptoms of low blood sugar, a head injury, alcohol intoxication. So let's try and figure out, is this low blood sugar that's going on here? One, you can ask the victim. If they're conscious enough to speak with you and are a little oriented, you can ask them, are you diabetic? Two, you can look for medical alert tags, which could be a bracelet or a necklace or something that identifies them as a diabetic. Or you can ask family or bystanders. You can ask the family, is your mom a diabetic? Is your dad have low blood sugar? Or bystanders, do you know this person? Do you know if they're diabetic or not? So there's ways we can play detective and try and figure it out. If you have somebody who's having low blood sugar, you do want to call 911 or your country-specific emergency number and start EMS on the way, right? You want to give sugar. If somebody's having low blood sugar attack, so let's give them some sugar. But you're only going to give sugar to somebody who's conscious, who can follow commands. So you say, squeeze my hand, hold your arms out. You know they're hearing you enough and they're oriented enough to follow your commands, and that they can swallow. Because if you give sugar or something to somebody who is not oriented enough, can't swallow, altered mental status, they can actually aspirate that, choke, and die, and we do not want that to happen. It's better to wait for EMS to get there. So you're going to go ahead and give them sugar. It could be orange juice, it could be soda, it could be something that just helps get their sugar up with that. In reality, what we'd like them to do is have some food, right? Some protein and some sugar to get better. But a lot of times we're not in a situation where we can do that. You want to stay with them until EMS arrives. And when EMS gets there, they'll give them some sugar. Paramedics can start an IV. And maybe in other states, I am in New Jersey, so it's just paramedics who are going to start an IV at this point and give them some sugar through the IV. A lot of the times, if they start feeling better, if they've had sugar, they can refuse medical aid and they won't be going to the hospital. But again, that's determined by their blood sugar and if they're answering questions. So again, stay with them until EMS arrives. With high blood sugar is a dire emergency. People can go into something called a diabetic coma. And they consider like 300 is you're in the danger range, and going above that, you can actually go into diabetic coma, right? So these folks will have maybe a fruity odor on their breath. They'll increase thirst, increased urination a lot of the times with that. They'll have altered mental status. They get confused, and they will end up dying of a coma. You can't always tell the difference between these two. If you're not there and you can't check the actual blood sugar with, you're not able to, you can't tell the difference, right? So you really want to call 911, have help on the way. If you're unsure which one you're dealing with, you still want to give sugar, because sugar is not going to hurt somebody already with high sugar. The little bit of sugar you give them isn't going to hurt them if they're conscious, following commands, and can swallow the sugar. But it will save the life of somebody with low blood sugar. So again, if you're unsure and they're able to take the sugar, go ahead and administer that sugar and wait for EMS to get there. And EMS will get there. They'll actually check the blood sugar and see what it is with that. So I hope that explains diabetes a little bit better to you, and that you're a little bit more clear on what we're going to do for somebody with low blood sugar with that, and how you can help them out, and the differences a little bit between low and high blood sugar. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping by.